Hi guys, N6MQL here. I'm looking at the Begali sculpture arrow, so I thought I would just talk about it a little bit and show it to those who are interested in purchasing it. The Begali has 3 different screw adjustments on the top. So what we have here is a very basic idea of what's going on inside this key. You have the knob, you have the arm, you have the contact gap screw and mating contact. You have the repulsion screw and mating magnet. You have the pivot, and then you have the forward attraction screw and mating magnet. So what happens is when you push down on the knob, the pivot goes up in the rear and causes this contact to come mate with this gap screw. And this is why we call it a pump key, because you're actually moving up as opposed to a J38 where the contact would travel down into the other contact. Now this repulsion magnet causes the arm to want to lift back up, because as you push down on the knob and this pivots up towards the other magnet, they want to repel from each other. The forward magnet is actually polarized opposite, north-south, so that these are always trying to attract to each other. So as you push down on the knob, you're literally trying to tear this magnet away from that magnet, and that's what causes the tension. As you have this magnet closer to this magnet, you also are essentially always trying to suck that arm up into the attraction magnet. Therefore, if you loosen this repelling a little bit, you'll still have the attraction here and the arm will continue to pop up. So the first thing you want to do when you're adjusting this key, of course, is set the gap spacing so that it meets your requirements. Some people like a wide gap. Other people who send very quickly tend to like a very small gap. So making the adjustments to this key, I found that the best way to get the most accurate tension and repel is to actually loosen both of these magnets. Now I've done a lot of adjustments where I've taken the magnet all the way to the top of the casing here, and then also the repel magnet all the way to the top of the case, and then try to adjust from there. But what I find is, in order to get within a reasonable range and something that's repeatable, and that's really what seems to be the thing here, is you want to be able to repeat all of your adjustments. What I've found now is I take this magnet, which attracts the arm, and I now adjust that magnet so that it becomes flush with the bottom of this assembly. And then I adjust this repel magnet until when I push down on the arm, there's no more tension, no more repel. And what it actually does is it allows me to begin to set the repel placement magnet. So as you see, it's still repelling back up. And if I loosen this screw here, I'll find the spot where it doesn't pop up any longer. And then from that point, I can now place it down and I can hear it. It doesn't really pop right back up. So I'm getting very close. So now I'll go another half turn. And what I can hear is when the arm jumps back up or is repelled by this magnet, I can actually hear a little thunk or a click. And when I hear that sound, I know that I've gotten pretty close with that screw. The key is supplied with a 3.5mm jack in the rear, and does come with a 3.5mm to 3.5mm cable. It also comes with some optional feet that would be mounted into these holes in the bottom of the key. Instead, it has currently the rubber gasket that goes around the edge of the key, and I find that that's plenty enough because of the 2.5 pounds of weight to keep the key from sliding around. You really got to give it a good shove one way or the other Of course, the table surface will make a difference if you don't have a flat table like this. Using those optional rubber feet that snap into those holes might be better. One thing I find about this key when using it is the overall height for the key seems to be slightly high on this knob. This is a standard Navy knob, but it's been flattened down. Typically, I would like my key knob to end right about midpoint here, just because it gives me a little bit more control over the key. But this is certainly within reason and quite usable. Overall, this is a really smooth key. It works great. I find that it sends clean code. It's very smooth. One thing that I do miss is the tactile feeling of the contacts hitting each other when you press down. I imagine with a very large gap you could probably achieve that, because you're always going to have that clicking. All right, well, thank you for watching. Appreciate it, and we'll see you later. 73.